Stand aside, citizens! I'm going ghost! Hey guys, the Black Critic Guy, and continuing off Nostalgia Week, I present my review of a TV show starring a half-boy, half-ghost hero by the name of Danny Phantom. Now, Danny Phantom starts off with a young Danny Phantom who was just 14 when his parents built a very strange machine that was designed to view a world unseen. Now, when it didn't quite work, his folks, they just quit, but then Danny took a look inside of it. He accidentally presses a button inside the machine. There was a great big flash, everything just changed, and his molecules got all rearranged. Now, when he first woke up, he realized he had snow white hair and glowing green eyes. He could walk through walls, disappear, and fly. He was much more unique than the other guy. And realizing he had all these powers, it was then that he knew what he had to do. He had to stop all the ghosts that were coming through because he's here to fight for me and you. He's gonna catch them all cause he's Danny Phantom. Gonna catch them all cause he's Danny Phantom. Gonna catch them all cause he's Danny Phantom. Now, I will not deny the fact that I was a huge fan of Danny Phantom when I was a kid. I freaking loved the show, and I would wait every Friday night to see a new episode and to see what foe or what villain Danny would have to face this time around, and how Danny, Sam, and Tucker would have to get out of the crazy situations that they would get caught in. And actually, last year, I rewatched the entire series on Netflix to see how much it held up and to do an actual review for it. But I got a little lazy and preoccupied with other things, so I sidelined the project and I just never got to it. But now that it's Nostalgia Week, I decided, you know what? Why not revisit my favorite Ghost Boy and actually give you the review that you guys sorta were waiting a year for. And you're probably wondering to yourself, Tony, does the show hold up after all these years? And in my opinion, besides a few corny jokes here and there, the show holds up incredibly well. And there are a lot of things that I did not notice back then that I notice now as an adult, and I fully appreciate them. First things first, the animation. It's very solid, and I love the overall look of the show. It's very similar to the look of The Fairly Odd Parents, but that's because it's from the same creator, Butch Hartman, so I'm not gonna condemn it for that. I love the fact that all the backgrounds had a variety of color to them, giving them a sense of personality, ranging from dark and ominous to bright and calming. And it goes without saying, but it also helped to set the tone of the scene. And tying in with the animation, we got the action in the show. Although not as intense as Avatar: The Last Airbender, they still were a whole lot of fun to watch and overall entertaining and very creative, especially whenever Danny would have to face the multitude of ghost enemies throughout the show. These were my favorite moments because we get to see the ghost powers put on full display from both Danny and his enemies. Next, we got the story. Now, I for one really like the story about a boy who gets ghost powers and lives in a family that ironically spend their entire lives looking for and hunting ghosts, yet are totally oblivious to the fact that their son is now half ghost, and how he has to fight off these various ghostly villains and hide his secret from his parents with the help of his two friends, Sam and Tucker. And although that is the main premise throughout the entire series, there are also a lot of well-told side stories that range from being very emotional, very sentimental, to being very humorous. I have a few favorite side stories that I really enjoy that also serve as character-centric episodes, like this one episode where Tucker is kind of jealous that Danny has all these ghost powers and he gets to be all cool and gets all the attention, and he wished that he had ghost powers, and then he does end up getting ghost powers, and you get this really interesting clash between Danny and Tucker, and you really get to see their friendship grow. Another standout one that served both as an emotional and humorous story was this one episode where Danny gets hypnotized by this one ghost girl to fall in love with the first person that he sees, and it just happened to be Sam. And throughout the entire episode, he's being all lovey-dovey and goo-goo eyes for Sam, and Sam is a little weirded out, and you really get to see the relationship between Sam Sam and Danny grow in this episode, and I found it really cute and adorable. But my all-time favorite side stories in the entire series, and it's kind of a 2-for-1 deal because it does feature the same supporting character, is first off this one episode where Jazz, Danny's sister, discovers Danny's secret and kind of persuades him in her subtle ways to reveal his secret to his parents. But later on in the episode, she realizes that she also has to keep this a secret now, but also supports her brother in whatever he's doing, which I really liked. And the second one is the episode where Jazz actually tries to help Danny fight off ghosts, and she's not that good, and she gets in the way, and she's a bit annoying, which really irritates Danny. I thought these episodes were so well done, and they did something I haven't seen in a cartoon show during that time. They build a strong sibling relationship. I felt a strong bond between Danny and Jazz. I felt like Jazz really cared about Danny and was worried whenever she would go out and fight these various ghosts. I felt a strong connection with them, and I just really loved that they explored this dynamic, this relationship. Maybe it's because I have a brother of my own, but I just really love well-done sibling relationships of a non-sexual nature. Keep that in mind. Especially one as great and strong as Danny and Jazz's. And since we were talking about Danny and Jazz, let's talk about the characters. Now, I know I've made this statement numerous times in other videos, especially here in Nostalgia Month, but it's just so true because guys, I loved each and every one of the characters in this show. They all were likable to an extent, memorable, and overall entertaining. First off, you got the Fentons, Danny, Jazz, Jack, and Maddie. A dynamic, abnormal, and borderline dysfunctional family that are just so colorful and entertaining. Danny serves as our main protagonist, and he's a very likable main protagonist. You relate to him, you sympathize with him. He's pretty cool at times, and you love the character. He's just really likable. Then you got Jazz, Danny's sister, who's the typical teenage girl who wants her space and hates the fact that her family is so abnormal. Then you got the patriarch of the family, Jack Fenton. This guy always makes me laugh. I mean, just how ridiculous and absurd this guy is always entertaining. And I love his wife, Maddie, as well. The two of them make a dynamic comic relief duo. And for all their abnormalities as a family, I do believe that they are a strong family unit. Next, we got Sam, one of Danny's best friends slash love interest in the show that is a goth vegetarian, which I personally found very unique because I've never seen a goth vegetarian in a TV show or even in real life. I liked her character, I loved her personality, and she was very vital to the team. She wasn't useless, she wasn't always a damsel in distress. She also contributed to the team and held her ground. And also, she could kick just as much butt as Danny could. Sam was actually one of the first strong female characters I ever saw on a TV show, and I really respected her and really liked her. And Gray Delisle's voice acting for the character was just really good, although I don't think her name is Delisle anymore. I believe her name is Griffin, so Gray Griffin, good job. And finishing the trifecta, we got Tucker, another one of Danny's friends who served as the geek of the group and also the comic relief. This guy had me laughing all the time in the show. In my opinion, he had some of the best lines and some of the best scenes comedy-wise. He was gold. Now, there are many notable non-ghost side characters throughout the entire series, but the one that stood out the most and the one I want to talk about is Mr. Lancer, one of Danny's teachers. This guy was just a delight. Every single time I saw this guy, I just had this huge, ridiculous smile on my face for two main reasons. First off, he is voiced by Ron Perlman. Yes, Ron Perlman, Hellboy himself, voices Mr. Lancer. And the second reason that I really enjoyed him is that whenever he would get shocked or like surprised, he would yell out like a title of a book. Not like, oh my gosh, or holy heck, what just happened? He would just say like, Paradise Lost, or Lord of the Flies, something like that. I'll put a clip right here. I found this clip on YouTube where it has a collection, a compilation of all of his exclamations basically, and it's just really hilarious. And as a kid, I never noticed that. It's only when I saw it last year that I was like, wait a minute, all these things he's saying sound like book time. Oh my god, that is really clever. Props to you, Danny Phantom writing crew. You guys surprised me. But besides all the notable human side characters, there's also just a crap ton of memorable ghost villains throughout the entire series. The first one that really stands out is Vlad, who is more or less the main antagonist to Danny Phantom in the series, who was actually the first person affected by a machine made by Jack Fenton, which gave him ghost powers. And he kind of trained for years to use his ghost powers, and he is just a formidable foe. Now, later on in the series, he becomes more of a cartoon villain, but when he first appeared, man, this guy was tough, he was menacing, he meant business. As for the other memorable ghost villains, I'll briefly mention a few of them here. First off, we got Skulker, who is this ghost that likes to hunt down unique ghost specimens and add them to his collection. He has this really cool exoskeleton body with all these interesting gadgets, and he hunts down Danny from time to time. You got the rock star ghost Amber, who hypnotizes people with her embryonic sound. It's really interesting, and she has this really catchy song like, Amber, I'm gonna tell you, you will remember my name. And for sure, I remembered her name. I mean, years later, I still remember Amber, don't I? But my favorite ghost villain in the entire show, and probably the most annoying character in the show, but no one really ever compared to him, and no one was ever as fierce as this guy, and that was the Box Ghost! Ooh, the Box Ghost, here I come! Beware! That guy... That guy is just hilarious. I mean, how am I supposed to take this guy seriously every single time? He's so ridiculous and over the top. He was just so much fun. But his future self? Truly beware. Now, honestly, I only have one major problem with the series, but it is a big one. And that's the fact that the show got repetitive, especially in later seasons, with Danny having to fight the same ghosts over and over again and defeat them in a similar manner. It just wasn't as interesting as the first time, and it just got a bit repetitive and very boring to see the same thing. But besides that one major problem that I had with the show, I can honestly say that Danny Phantom is an excellent kids TV show that I thoroughly enjoyed both then and now, with its interesting and well-developed characters, entertaining stories, solid animation, and fun action scenes. It is definitely one of Nickelodeon's best shows, and sadly canceled before its time. And that's why I'm going to give this show a 4.5 out of 5 stars. I think that it is one hell of a TV show, and if you're a fan of fun, action, comedy, TV shows, cartoons in general, you should check it out. But anyway, what did you guys think about this TV show? Did you really enjoy it both as a kid and as an adult now? Or did you enjoy it as a kid and now you're just like, it's okay, it's not as great as I remembered it? Or did you just outright hate the show and found it repetitive and boring, you just couldn't be pulled into it? And let me know who is your favorite Danny Phantom ghost villain in the show, and what was your favorite fight in Danny Phantom? Comment below and let me know. And until then, guys, hit that subscribe button if you're new to my channel. Welcome to the Black Critic Guy. Like this video if you really enjoyed it, and I'm Tony Walton II, the Black Critic Guy. Till then, peace, YouTube.